Hi, I'm Benji Hardy, and I've got your Arkansas Times news headlines for today, Tuesday, June 16th. First up, Fayetteville Civil Rights Ordinance is back before the City Council tonight in that city. This would be an ordinance to extend work, housing, and public accommodation protection on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity, as well as other protected classes. It will be before the City Council this evening at 5:30. If passed, the non-discrimination measure would still require the approval of voters in a special election on September 8th. The Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce significantly supports this version of the ordinance after objecting to a previous version which came up before the council, then was rejected by voters last fall, as most folks will remember. The newer version is similar in impact, but is shorter and clearer according to its supporters. It's more closely modeled after similar state and federal laws. It's expected to pass the council vote tonight, so the real test is really on September 8th, whenever it goes before voters again. And the previous vote, if you'll remember, was fairly close. The repeal was about 52% to 48%, and then that vote, some people say, was marked by confusion over the way that it was phrased on the ballot. If it does indeed pass, and the ordinance, like a similar ordinance passed in Eureka Springs last month, poses a potential legal challenge to Act 137, which is the state law that was passed by the legislature this spring, which would prevent city and county governments from adding protected classes to the civil rights law. However, Act 137 doesn't go into effect until July 22nd, so as of now, state law does not address the issue. Moving on, some questions have been raised over employees at an airport, at a firm that handles concessions at the Little Rock Airport. Allegations have surfaced over non-payment of certain employees of a subcontractor, as well as possible non-payment of insurance premiums. The firm in question is Adevco Management, which is headed by Marcus Devine. He's also enjoyed several high-profile political appointments in state government over the years. And Adevco rather, is the minority partner in a joint venture with the national airport concessionaire firm HMS Host. They provide food, drink, and retail services at outlets there in the airport. At an airport commissioners meeting this morning, Airport Director Ron Matthew acknowledged that the commission has also received those reports of non-payment of employees and will be meeting with Host this afternoon to see what happened and when exactly. Now, to be clear, these are not employees of the airport, so the airport does not have direct control over their compensation. But Matthew said the airport still takes these allegations seriously and wants to get to the bottom of what happened. Devine, by the way, in addition to owning Adevco, was hired in February as the director of the Division of Youth Services at the Department of Human Services, and he previously worked at ADEQ in the Mike Huckabee administration. Details remain sparse about the shooting yesterday at the Little Rock Air Force Base, but the FBI has identified the man who was shot by military security yesterday as Larry McElroy. He lives just outside of Jacksonville, and FBI agents in a bomb squad raided his residence this morning, blocking off the street for several hours. We really don't know much more than that at this point. McElroy remains in the hospital in critical condition. He was shot by security at the base yesterday after he crashed his vehicle into a nearby curb and emerged from the vehicle carrying a rifle. Finally today, a complaint about Walmart has been filed with the Internal Revenue Service by a coalition of labor organizations and community groups that allege the Walmart Foundation targets its grant making to soften opposition to the store's expansion in several major U.S. cities, including New York City, LA, and Washington, D.C. Now, the Walmart Foundation, that's a charitable nonprofit distinct and separate from the Walton Family Foundation, which most people are more familiar with. The Walmart Foundation is associated with Walmart Stores, Inc. Its website says that it gave $309 million worldwide in 2014 and another $1 billion in in-kind donations in that year. However, the complaint made by these community groups alleges that some of those donations were made with an eye towards promoting Walmart's business interests in cities with strong opposition to the retailer's expansion, such as New York and LA. Apparently, donations spiked in those cities when Walmart was attempting to open a store in the face of community opposition, and then dropped off again after the company gained a foothold in that market. If the IRS finds that the foundation's grant making was indeed done with an eye towards helping the business side of Walmart secure its market share, then that could potentially be a violation of the foundation's status as a tax-exempt nonprofit. A spokesman for Walmart said yesterday that the complaint was without any merit. That's all we got for today. We'll be back tomorrow with more headlines.